I'm Jenny Davidson with Stand Up Plaster, and we're here today to tell you about all the great things Stand Up Plaster is doing in the community and give you a little insight as to some of the fun things that are coming up in the next couple months. So I look forward to just getting to talk with you and with our guests today and let you know what's happening. So first of all, Stand Up Plaster has been in Placer County for 38 years, serving survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. We have served in the last year also human trafficking victims. And a lot of people are surprised that this is happening right here in our county. But in 2015, we served 10 victims of human trafficking through our domestic violence and rape crisis centers. And then in 2016, we were designated by the state of California as a human trafficking victim services agency. And since then, we have served almost 80 new clients of human trafficking. So it's a really major thing that's happening right here in your neighborhood. It's happening in the schools or in the community, and it's an important topic. And as impactful as that is, knowing that this has happened in our area, something more, even larger that's happening is we've had almost 300 victims of sexual assault and 2,000 victims of domestic violence. So if you are in your community, 1 in 4 women are victims of domestic violence, 1 in 7 men are victims of severe domestic violence or sexual assault. So if you know 4 people or 8 people, there's a pretty high chance that you know somebody who's been a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault. It's happening on your street, it's happening in your service club, it's happening where you work. And so we want to make sure and give you the information of how you can help people get services through Stand Up Placer. Our crisis line is 1-800-575-5352, and that's usually the first place people might get a hold of us. Or they can come into our service office. We have one on in Roseville at 775 Sunrise, Suite 160. And we have a service office in Auburn at 11985 Heritage Oaks, Suite 200. So those are just sort of the beginning ways that people can find out about the services that we have and how they can get help. Or if you want to volunteer, you can call those or stop by and let us know that you're interested in volunteering. You can go to our website at standupplacer.org. And a few of the great services that we have you'd want to know about, we have a safe house with 55 beds for where people can go to stay for 90 days. And that's really important because a lot of times people stay in a violent situation much longer just because they feel like they don't have a safe place to go. And then we have transitional housing that's 12 to 24 months, and we have 26 units of housing in Placer County. So a lot of times if people might ask, why do people stay in these domestic violence relationships so much longer? It's because they don't know that there's safety. They don't know that there is another option. And we're just here making sure people know that there is another option. We respond with law enforcement on scene. We respond in the hospitals. We're out in the community giving presentations. So if you just know you want to bring this to your business, then give us a call. We'll come out and talk and let you know about all the services so you know better how to help your coworkers or your community or your family members. But today we're here to talk about something really fun and exciting. We're going to talk about this year's fundraiser. It's Stand Up and Dance, and it's Dancing with the Placer County Stars. So with me today, I have 3 amazing people who are going to introduce themselves, and then we'll get into the fun conversations.
Hi, I'm Katie Kenoyer, and I am a volunteer with Stand Up Placer. I've been volunteering with Stand Up Placer, I've lost count, for more than 5 years. Most recently and continually, I am a part of the SART team, which is the Sexual Assault Response Team. I have a dedicated 12-hour shift each week where I could be called if someone has been assaulted and needs our services. And also I'll be on call if it works into my schedule. I've also gotten the privilege of volunteering at our run in October. October signifies domestic violence awareness. So that's really fun. And I got started working or volunteering with Stand Up Placer when they had Oktoberfest. And my husband and I thought, oh, this would be so much fun to go volunteer at kind of a night out. But after our first time there, the speaker was so significant in what she talked about. I knew I wanted to do more with Stand Up Placer. So when my life changed a little bit and I had some extra time, that's when I began volunteering on the SART team. I am so excited, though, to be part of Stand Up and Dance and one of the dancers. I work for Placer County full-time in human services, and I'm also a lifeguard and swim instructor. I have other volunteer duties, but this is my main one. I'm really looking forward to doing some dancing and hopefully bringing more awareness of Stand Up Placer, bringing in some funds, and really hoping for some more volunteers.
Hello, my name is Doug Wageman. I'm a relatively new supporter and participant with Stand Up Placer, but I'm really looking forward to it. I come from a little bit of a different background than some of the other people that you're going to be meeting. I am a funeral director, have been for 43 years. I own Cochran and Wageman in Roseville, as well as the Cremation Society of Placer County. I see a little bit of a different area than most people, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that a little bit later. I like to be involved in the community and to give back to organizations and individuals that have been very, very kind to us. And I'm like you, I'm looking forward also to the Stand Up and Dance event that's going to be coming up.
Hi, my name is Garth Brooks, and I am Executive Director of Love Creek Animal Sanctuary up in Grass Valley. But I've been involved with Stand Up Placer for a couple of years now as Development Director and Interim Executive Director. But today I am in a fundraising capacity, a volunteer, and it's so exciting to see these volunteers up here. It's a complicated and difficult issue as a part of our community, but it takes everybody to pitch in some capacity. You can see that we have great diversity of history in our panel guests, and we're going to hopefully be talking about the event, which is a lot of fun. So that's why I'm here today, and I'm happy to join you all.
So, Garth, I have a question for you. Why would a company choose to want to be part of this? Why would they want to sponsor something like this? What kind of event is this even?
Okay, so this is the third year that we're doing Stand Up and Dance with the Placer County Stars, and every year we involve our community members to become star dancers, and so thank you, Katie and Doug, for doing that this year. Good job. So we decided to do Stand Up and Dance with the Placer County Stars because it gives so many different opportunities to give and take part in a fundraising event that's a lot of fun. And like I say, it's good to have fun and remember to have fun and a complicated kind of issues that we deal with. So this year, it's going to be on March 25th at Orchard Creek Lodge in Lincoln. Okay, it's been so many different places, I'm trying to remember where it's at. So that gives us about 60 days to get up and running. But we have opportunities for companies to sponsor or community members to come out and buy tickets or be involved as a volunteer. So why would, if your question, if I remember it right, why would a company want to sponsor? Well, first of all, it's a great way to get involved as a business, to come out and participate in the betterment of your community. For business reasons, it is, I think, a good tax write-off. But more importantly, I think when it comes to spreading community awareness of this issue, we discussed many times before how people sitting next to you in the same room or your service agency or organization are impacted by this issue, domestic violence or sexual trafficking. And so it's a kind of a silent issue that people don't talk about it that much. So by spreading awareness throughout your employee base, maybe you buy a table and bring 10 people out, those 10 people will now be kind of exposed to the issues and be able to recognize maybe some of the symptoms or signs of domestic violence abuse in the workplace. So I think awareness is huge. And of course, we like to have community partners participate in our fundraisers to get involved that way.
Awesome. Thank you. So, why or how would somebody, if they want to buy tickets, they want to sponsor, how do they make that happen?
It's a really good question. I think the simplest way is to go onto standupplacer.org. That's standupplacer.org. I think everybody knows how to spell that. And from there you can actually find out all sorts of information about our programs. You can buy tickets there. You can learn how to volunteer. You can follow links to our Facebook page, and all sorts of different resources are there to learn about the agency. So I think that's a good starting place to buy tickets or find out about our wonderful programs and learn about our star dancers, because I think a link is going up today to learn about the 10 star dancers in our community that are going to be participating in the event, and they each have fundraising campaign links on that webpage. And so they're going to be doing some dancing, but they're also going to be doing some fundraising. So that's a way to get to know them, get to know a little bit more about Katie and Doug and their other parts of their lives.
So I looked at some of those links today, and I see that Doug already has quite a head start on the crowd with his fundraising. So that's really exciting. That's really exciting. Tell me, what do you expect to get out? What are you anticipating with your dance lessons, or have you had your first dance lesson?
We had our first dance lesson this past Friday. It's the first time I've ever danced. I've never danced a step in my life. And so this was really kind of it was difficult to walk through that front door to begin with, but actually once you start getting into it and with people that kind of help you through that initial shock, we had some fun Friday night. So we had our first lesson.
Nice.
Next lessons to come, so we'll see what happens on Wednesday night.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And again, Garth, the studio that's donating the dance lessons, we should make sure to mention.
Yep. Soiree Studios out of Rockland, and Frank and Lisa Williams are the owners out there, and they do a fantastic job. They've been involved with us since the beginning. And when I hear you talk, it brings back memories of all these dancers who have come before you and have had the exact same feeling of, I'm not a dancer. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm putting myself, in front of people. But they do a real good job at really playing with you, having fun, and getting...
They really put you at ease. They really do. Yeah. Did a good job. And they had a big job with me.
Don't let him fool you. He did great Friday. You did.
And I do need to mention, because we do have, this is the Dancing with the Stars, and that we actually have a star right next to me here. Katie, were you just named Ambassador of the Year by the Loomis Chamber of Commerce?
I was, thank you.
So that's really exciting.
Yes, I was nominated by the board of directors of Loomis Chamber, and they awarded me Ambassador of the Year, which just kind of tells me not only am I doing my job, which is part of my job with Placer County, but that I'm an ambassador to the community. It's another way for me to not only help my community, but when the time's right, I can also mention things like Stand Up Placer and some of the other events that are going on.
I see Katie everywhere.
Oh.
Everywhere in the community.
Yeah.
It's great. You're out there.
Thank you.
So, Doug, we had coffee last week.
Yes.
And
it was our first time we had coffee.
We first met. We set up this coffee date, and we were at a chamber event, and we happened to be sat at the same table together and started talking, and I said, I think I'm having coffee with you next week.
And we did.
Yeah, we did. And you said something during our coffee meeting about the side of domestic violence that you see. And I'm wondering if you could just share just a little bit, what do you see on your end, and why does that make you want to be part of this fundraising event?
Well, for 43 years, I've been a funeral director. And a lot of times, I've had to see the other side of what happens if a victim does not seek the services or doesn't have access to the services that Stand Up Placer provides. And it's a very, very sad, tragic story each time. And way too often, in the last 43 years, I've had to look down at cold steel tables into the face of a victim of domestic violence. On a very selfish plane, I want to give back to Stand Up Placers so that for the rest of my career, I might be prevented from looking at one more tragic face.
Thank you.
So that gives me the motivation. And once I have heard during our coffee what Stand Up Placer does and how involved it is, and the services that are provided, That made me want to give back. And Garth, as you were saying, why would businesses ever want to participate? Well, we just heard that the statistics indicate that if you have a medium to large business, you have employees that are victims. And as employers, number one, I think we have an obligation to make sure that we have all the resources available to be able to help our employees. That's number one. Number two, why would a business want to sponsor or participate? Well, you know what? Businesses, I feel that business owners have a moral responsibility to give back to the community for the kindness that the community provides them by purchasing their products and services. And if we can continue to do that, then that flywheel of what I call the rich fabric of community grows and grows and grows. So those are two of the reasons why I personally want to participate, as well as my very selfish motivation. Because I do not like doing that. It is very hard. And it's just not only me. It's all of the first responders. It's the police. It's the ambulance attendants. It's the paramedics. It's the firemen. It's the ER people. It's the hospital people. It's the coroner's office. All the first responders. When we see those type of situations, we suffer as well. We get emotional. We have to deal with that. We need to solve it.
Thank you. So, Katie, how long have you been a competitive dancer?
About 2 weeks. Competing in other ways, doing triathlons, swimming, that kind of stuff. I really got out of competing because I don't like it. But the last 2 years, seeing the dance and standing next to Garth last year, I'm like, Garth, this is so much fun. I think I can do this. So I'm really excited about it. I don't know how nervous I'll be that night, but Doug and I, we have a plan, right?
Yeah.
Make your deals, and there's no place like home.
Just so you know, the back door is going to be locked.
No escape.
I think it's going to be really exciting. Just from just a couple lessons I've done with Frank, he is truly amazing and able to kind of choreograph right there on the spot and kind of pinpoint what is the best style of dance and letting us kind of pick music, offered suggestions. So it's going to be good. But more importantly, I think it's a way to get the word out to many people, and hopefully business people and the community at large about what we do at Stand Up Placer and how you can help. Even if it is, that's what I've been telling my friends, even if you just come and cheer me on, that's awesome. And then just to get that knowledge, what you can do, and how, if you ever run into that kind of situation where you can direct somebody to get some help. So, and again, volunteers. I know with the addition of the human trafficking, that's a whole another realm that's going to open up in a possibility for people to volunteer. And I'd like to, but I know with our SART calendar, we need volunteers. It really falls back on staff when there's not a volunteer that cover one of the shifts that day, and that's really hard. It's hard. So.
That reminds me of a conversation we had our dancer orientation about a week ago at Rachel Hill's house, and she was a great hostess, and she was a dancer last year, and she was talking about how one of the important things that to come out of that experience for her was the ability to talk to each one of her community members or friends or family or peers and share with them about what she was doing, not just to get them in the seat, but every time she had a conversation, that was an opportunity for somebody to learn. And so you're talking about spreading the word. I mean, it's so powerful to reach out to these people. And we have a capacity of 300 people at this, and it's standing room only every year. So get your tickets soon. Standing room only. And many people who sit in those seats don't know who Stand Up Placer is, which is strange living in the community. You think you'd run across it, but many people don't get the opportunity. So, social media is great, advertising is great, shows like this is great. But really where the rubber meets the road is individuals spreading the word, talking about, what they're doing and how they're involved, and that really helps.
Yeah. And I know one thing that's really hard for some of our dancers, they've expressed, it's hard to ask their friends to help, to sponsor them, to pay money toward their campaign, and they're competing on trying to see who can raise the most funds. But, so a question for you, Garth. You were our development director for a while. Why does a nonprofit need to do fundraisers like this?
Well, nonprofits get their money from a lot of different sources, and in Stand Up Placer's case, much of it is grant-centric, and so you get funds from different organizations that are state or federal or local, but often it's restricted money, and that's a technical term to say you can have money to do very specific things, but often our programs that we need to actually service the community through lie beyond those margins. So there's always a little bit of a margin beyond that, quite a lot actually, where we need to spend money to provide services that lie outside those parameters. So I think it's really important to have that unrestricted funding that comes through fundraising like this to be able to service your clients in a really thorough, holistic way that addresses the entire human being versus just a medical emergency or housing. So I think that's one of the most important things.
So this event sells out every year. So people need to get online, standupplacer.org, get your tickets soon, because pretty soon you won't be able to. But why does it sell out? What kind of things? What are we going to see when we get there? Is there food? What's happening that night?
Well, $75 tickets gets you in the door, but a $100 ticket gets you a VIP spot. And so that gives you a VIP spot. I know that sounds terrible. It gets you a cocktail hour. The very first hour is a VIP cocktail hour, and then it goes into a silent auction where we'll have a photo booth, lots of fun stuff, and we'll have a silent auction where you can bid on things. And then we have a dinner, and so it's a sit-down plated dinner this year. And so there's also a live auction. We're working with Beam Auction Group to do a live auction. And then the dance competition is our big showcase piece of our night, and that's when we spend about an hour going through our different dance routines. And
that's the first half hour.
That's really the exciting part. And Katie's going to dance for a full half hour of that. But that's a lot of fun. And then we have a little dance party at the end. But dancers are actually judged on 3 things. So they come to the table and win in different ways. So everybody gets a trophy in a sense. One of the ways you can win That's right. One of the ways that a dancer can win is by raising the most funds. So that's, the elite fundraiser category is something that people often strive because they think, well, I know I'm going to lose the dance competitions. But that's not true at all. Everybody's always fabulous. And then there's a judges panel. So we have a celebrity judges panel, and we're forming that panel now. But dancers are actually rated by a formal panel that, give their 2 cents worth, much like American Idol or whatever. And they comment, and they're very witty and charming. And that's a really fun, dynamic element of the whole show. So they will grade you and rate you at the end of the night, and somebody will walk away with the judge's favorite. And then there's the crowd pleaser category, which if you have a lot of friends and family in the audience, they can, clap in the clap-o-meter, and you might win that way. So audience favorite is a third way. So it's kind of like the popular vote.
So it helps us sell a lot of tickets.
Yeah.
And get your friends there, right? And to talk to your friends ahead of time about the great work that Stand Up Placer is doing and why you're part of it and why you want your friends to sponsor you as a dancer and also to come and clap along. And then you have you have like 8 weeks of dance lessons.
Free dance lessons.
Yeah, provided by Soiree Studios. Another great big thank you to them for donating that portion of it. And it's going to be a lot of fun, I know. So again, I just want to reiterate just who Stand Up Placer is, why people should want to be involved. Why are you're hearing all about this dance, you're thinking, maybe it sounds like fun, maybe I want to go, and $75 seems like a lot of money. Really, honestly, that part isn't where it's worth it. You're going to get an amazing meal, you're going to get a great show, you're going to have a lot of fun with these wonderful dancers, but you're supporting a survivor. You're acknowledging that you know that somewhere in your neighborhood this is happening. There's somebody who maybe they've picked up the phone a couple times to call you for help, and they got to the last digit and didn't finish dialing, and they didn't tell you, but they're out there. Or maybe they have told you, and you're seeing this and thinking, maybe I need to call Stand Up Placer myself and find out how I can help my friend get help. So again, our crisis line number is 800-575-5352. You can find us online at standupplacer.org. You can like us on Facebook. That's huge, especially you men out there. We only have 16% of our Facebook likes are men. So hopefully we get a lot of new Facebook likes from the event, and then you can follow all the other really great things that are happening at Stand Up Placer. And you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Instagram. And just in the community, give us a call and we'll come out and talk to your community organization, your business, whoever it is, your church. We love to get out there and make sure that the community knows that we're here, that this is a real problem that's happening in your neighborhood, and that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. If you're interested in volunteering, we do have our big crisis intervention training that's starting February 11th. And so if you could give us a call, if you're interested in that, now's the time. It's a 65-hour course, but it gives you all the information that you could possibly need in order to help a survivor of domestic violence, sexual assault, or human trafficking regain the self-determination in their life and the ability to take those next steps forward towards self-sufficiency. So thank you all so much, everyone who has tuned in to hear us talking about the dance, and I hope that I do see you there. I'm watching. I'll know if you show up. And thank you so much to our guest panelists today who came out to be able to share their experience. Thank you again. Goodbye. Bye.